Alright, welcome Source Gaming fans to another edition of Character Corner. This week we have myself, Spazzy, and with me we have Zeddy.
Hello, good to be here.
And we're going to talk about some Street Fighter. This one went on a little bit of hiatus with E3 and everything. But now we're getting back to it, so we're going to talk about what characters we think have a good chance to appear in Smash from Street Fighter, or to be honest, what characters we think if another Street Fighter character would be in, who they would be. Because honestly, I don't know about you, but I don't think we're probably not going to get another Street Fighter character. But these are the most likely ones.
I feel like we're rolling into with just Ryu.
Yeah, I feel like Ryu's fine, guys. But let's talk about it. The thing is, the Street Fighter 2 cast. Let's just skip Street Fighter. Let's just skip that first game.
Yeah. That's not real.
It has Ryu. It has Birdie was in that one.
Like
Sagat was in that one. That British dude with the nightstick.
Relento?
No. He was. I think he came back like in a Game Boy Advance version. It doesn't matter. There's a ninja guy that was like connected to a Buki.
I played Street Fighter for the first time when I got the Anniversary Collection, and it took me like an hour to beat the first round, and then immediately you get the ninja guy and he just spams shurikens at you and you can't do anything. It's the worst.
Oh yeah, I mean, Street Fighter is not a great game. I played it for the first time years ago on a friend's TurboGrafx 16. I think it was like Fighting Street, and I'm like, this game, it's no Street Fighter. But it's not. It laid the foundation for it. Some people like it, but the game that really I feel like brought people in, I think might have even been the best-selling third-party game for the Super Nintendo. Although I may also be making that up. Is Street Fighter 2. Street Fighter 2 is kind of the iconic Street Fighter. Other games in the series keep coming back to that cast. That's the cast that kind of resonates with people. That kind of makes when people think of Street Fighter, they think of that cast. So I feel like our list is going to be a little Street Fighter 2 heavy.
Yeah, definitely.
That's fine. Yeah, the first character though I think we're going to talk about is in Street Fighter 2, but actually I guess is a Street Fighter 1 character. We just talked about it, and that's Ken. So yeah. What are your thoughts on Ken?
Well, Source Gaming in general has had a lot of discussion about Ken being an echo fighter of Ryu, and I do think if he's gonna be in, it's definitely gonna be as an echo fighter, because he is different from Ryu in every game besides the first Street Fighter and Street Fighter 2. I think I've been playing a lot, and
in the first edition of Street Fighter 2, once they got to Super, they kind of changed Ken up.
Yeah, I haven't actually played the original Street Fighter 2 yet.
Oh, blasphemy, man! Come on, you gotta...
I mean, I'm sure I've played it at some point, but my first Street Fighter games ever were Alpha 2 and Alpha 3 on the Game Boy Advance. So
it's fine, man. You don't have to play the original Street Fighter 2.
No, I've played more since then. I'm a more modern fan. I've Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5. But yeah, Ken is really different from Ryu in a lot of the newer games, and I think because he is actually different in a lot of his moves, he's more kick based, where Ryu is more punch based, and he's Shoryuken is more powerful than Ryu's, and that's the differences between them. It is actually significant when you play the games, but if you only know it all these specials are the same, yeah, Ken's an easy echo. But yeah,
I was gonna say Ryu's moves are based off of Street Fighter 2. I think. By the way, also I looked it up, and yes, Street Fighter 2, The World Warriors, is the best-selling third-party Super Nintendo game. The second best-selling third-party Super Nintendo game, Street Fighter 2 Turbo Hyper Fighting. So, pretty good Street Fighter. You did good, kid. But so correct me if I'm wrong, people in the comments, and I know you will. But I think the only move that Ryu really does that is something that just Ken can't do or hasn't done before, is that donkey kick is his side smash, because that is one of Ryu's abilities from Street Fighter 3, and Ken doesn't do that.
Yeah, so like that kick is definitely Ryu's. He's forward smash, or like which one are we talking about again?
The side smash, the forward smash.
Yeah. So like instead of that, Ken has like a much longer kicks. Like they're different. They're not the same kind of kick, but like there is similarities there.
Yeah, but still, it would be a little strange. And I think the other thing is we don't know exactly how Echo Fighters work.
Yeah.
Because I could see him being like a Super Street Fighter 2 style Ken, if you just adjust a lot of the properties of his moves, the way certain moves hit, give him like a multi-hit fire Shoryuken. There's things you could change about him that would make him feel like classic Ken.
Yeah.
And the only thing that personally I think that sidekick is a move that it's one of Ryu's special moves. Like I said, it's not. It's an actual like input move from Street Fighter, so that would be weird. I could see it, and this is what happens. I feel like with when you talk about any Echo, they're like, but Ken could easily be his own character. It'd be a disservice. I'm like, yeah, but so could Shadow the Hedgehog, who people talk about. So could Dark Samus. I mean, so could Daisy, sort of. You know, like
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's just like in my mind, it's like Ken has ended up so different from his original incarnation, and I feel like that's the disservice. Like Shadow was always different from Sonic, like significantly, and yeah, you're right though. Yeah. Like it is like you can talk about any character and say like them being an Echo is a disservice.
Yeah, and the thing about Ken is he kind of go back to Street Fighter 1. He was kind of the original Echo, you know. He was
absolutely.
He was put there
he was just Ryu. He was just Ryu.
Yeah, he was blonde Ryu with the red gi. That's it.
Yeah, slightly longer hair.
Exactly. It's just like I said, like he would fit, especially if they could change enough of the properties of the moves. So I still think if we were to get one, he would be the most likely. If they went the Echo route. I mean, I think if they were going to be like, we just want a brand new Street Fighter rep, that the next character we're going to talk about would be it, and that's Chun-Li.
Yeah, she's definitely like the pick. She's been in every single game, including Street Fighter 3, which like no one was in Street Fighter 3 besides Ryu and Ken and Akuma. Yep. Akuma's the other one who I think would be likely. And the only reason I wouldn't put Akuma above Chun-Li is...
We'll get to Akuma.
Yeah,
we'll get to Akuma when we get to Akuma. Let's talk about Chun-Li.
Well, yeah, I think because she's like a charge character that also brings something unique to Smash. Like, I can't play charge characters at all in Smash, but it's definitely... Or not in Smash, just in general. But she's definitely a unique pick in that regard. Like, yeah, I'd like to see that kind of thing in Smash, charge moves, but you know, not charging the button, charging the input.
It would be odd, yeah. I mean, she's another one that you can kind of see her move list is pretty self-evident. I think most fighting game characters fit into that. But she is one of really the most iconic female video game characters, like hands down.
Yeah, hard to name many that like have been as long running as her.
Yeah, she was the focus of her own movie, and she was one of the focuses of one of the like main Street Fighter 2 animated movies. And really, in all of the supplementary material, she's usually one of the protagonists. It's Ken and Ryu and some in her, but like she had that really awful movie with was it Kristen Kreuk was Chun-Li, but it was a terrible movie. But she was still a strong enough character and a draw to be like Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li,
Yeah,
she was... I'm just trying to say that she was important enough of a character that they said, not only are we going to make a Street Fighter movie, we're going to make the first Street Fighter movie. They wanted to plan a whole franchise around this, a Street Fighter, shared universe concept. They said our first character is going to be Chun-Li.
Yeah, that movie, I remember that movie, but like I never watched it. I've never actually watched the Street Fighter movie either, but like Guile's the main character in that one, isn't he? Bit odd, but
well, yes, but But we're not talking about that movie. We're talking about Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li.
What is that movie? Like, explain it to me real quick.
Are you unaware? Okay,
I've only heard of it.
Okay, so Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li was a movie that came out in 2009. And the entire point of the movie was that Chun-Li had to get revenge on Bison because that's the story of Chun-Li, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just her and him and the dude who played what's his name? The guy who played Liu Kang in the Mortal Kombat movie.
No, I haven't watched any of these movies. It's beyond my time. Sorry.
Oh man, he played Gen. Is it Gen or Jen? The kung fu movie,
the old guy.
But anyways, yeah, But so, by the way, I hope everybody who's listening is enjoying my synopsis of what I can remember for seeing one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life, The Legend of Chun-Li.
I'm gonna end this conversation with is this the movie where this may have been like a day for you, but it was just a Tuesday for me?
No, that was the Raul Julia Street Fighter the movie.
Okay.
This one was just one with, yeah, it was all a whole thing. And you know what else Chun-Li appeared in? Ready Player One.
Oh.
Because she's like I said, next to like, I mean, there's a few. I'll say Lara Croft is up there too. Some of the Resident Evil protagonists, maybe Jill Valentine. Like, there's just some characters that when you think of a female video game character, it's up there. And Chun-Li is really like the first lady of fighting games. So yeah, that's it. Let's move on to a character that you talked about a minute ago, and let's talk about Akuma.
Yeah, Gerki, Akuma. What a cool guy.
Yeah, Akuma is a character, that was added in one of the versions of Street Fighter
2.
Turbo or Street Fighter 2, but I can't recall the exact game off the top of my head. Because I don't remember if it was in Super. I think it was in Super Turbo. But regardless, he's been in the series for a long time. He's another Shoto. Even from the get-go, he was very different from Ken and Ryu. Like, he definitely took a lot from their moveset, but he's always had kind of his own kind of, glass cannon sort of approach to things.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's always had the least health of the Shotos. Like, he's always had a really, really low health outside of, like, Street Fighter 2, where he's just completely busted. Well, like, not Street Fighter 2.
Right. He's someone else that could be an Echo, but I feel like that would be, like, an even bigger disservice, like, much, much larger than Ken.
Yeah, with Akuma, I think, like, the thing against him is actually the fact that he's appeared in, like, Tekken and everything now. Like, he's made his way around. Like, do they really want to pick him for Smash over something that we haven't seen crossover before?
Well, I mean, that's something maybe in his favor, too, if you think about it, that he's a character that they use for a crossover, so why not use him for another crossover? Yeah. Overall, though, I wouldn't be very excited about him. And I don't think he's particularly likely. But, I mean, he's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, unless they make him a main character in the Smash story somehow, like they did in Tekken, I don't see him being, like, the pick. Definitely Ken or Chun-Li over him. I just see them as, like, the more iconic characters. Like, if you ask people to name a Street Fighter character, you're gonna get Ken and Ryu. Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li. Probably won't get Akuma.
No. I think you'll probably get Guile before you get that. So let's talk about Guile, Mr. America, the character that Capcom invented because they're all like, yeah, Americans don't want to play as one of these dudes. Let's give them an easy charge character to use. And it worked. We all fell in love.
My favorite Street Fighter player actually plays Guile, Daigo, which is like, so I love Guile already just because of that, even though I can't play him for anything. He's so hard. I can't do charge characters. But like I said, he is the main character of the Street Fighter movie, right?
Yeah, and he's a main character. He's a main focus in a lot of like the Udon comics. He's a big presence in some of the anime shows. Like he's definitely he's oftentimes paired up with Chun-Li. You know, so he's for the whole Shadow Lu kind of story elements, which is funny because that's more of kind of the main plot of a lot of it. Whereas, you know, Ryu's off training and trying to suppress his Darkado and stuff like that. Like I feel like the actual story behind Street Fighter usually focuses more on like what are Guile and Chun-Li up to? Oh no, Bison's getting away with something, you know, that sort of deal.
Yeah, definitely like more of them. Like it's actually kind of weird because when you play Alpha, like the story is definitely all about them. I don't think Guile's not in Alpha 2. I think he makes a cameo appearance. It's all like Charlie, who is the Guile step-in that game. So like,
right? Who Nash, by the way, is also in The Legend of Chun-Li, played by Chris Klein, phoning it in. It's one of the best bad performances you'll ever see. It is. If you like bad movies, watch The Legend of Chun-Li.
I'll put it on my list now because now I'm curious.
Oh man, you will not be disappointed as long as you're not expecting a good movie in any way at all.
Yep. If I haven't heard Guile in a long time, but if he's as American as Charlie is, whoa, you're real good. Uncle Sam could use you.
Yeah, but yeah, in the he was Jean-Claude Van Damme, which is hilarious that once again he wasn't even played by an American in the Street Fighter movie.
Yeah, well, if he makes it into Smash, let's just give him the movie treatment. He's Jean-Claude Van Damme now. That's what I want to see.
I'd be okay with that because I just kind of want Jean-Claude Van Damme in Smash Brothers.
Yeah, we've got a lot of picks.
Okay, I mean we should end this now. We've I think settled on having Jean-Claude Van Damme's version of Guile as the best potential Smash Brothers character.
Yeah, I like that. Any, just make his costumes different versions of Jean-Claude Van Damme from other movies.
From different, like the Bloodsport Van Damme. I mean, just put Jean-Claude Van Damme in. Just screw Guile. Who cares? Guile can be one of his costumes. I mean, you know, plus his song goes with everything. Yeah, Guile's, and it's funny because Guile's like very much a character that I feel is very much a part of like all of the American merchandise and stuff for Street Fighter. So he got really big here because he was kind of the all-American guy. And when Street Fighter came out in the 90s, it was a time for like big, like, you know, action stars, and he kind of fit that mold. But he's a cool character, and I definitely see him in the upper echelon of potential Street Fighter characters. Moveset wise, he's also a charge character, like you said. But it'd be fun because you wouldn't have to, you know, you just press up B to flash kick and sight.
That
you
sounds so broken.
Yeah, right. So you wouldn't have to worry about that. You could just Sonic Boom spam all day. Okay, so let's move on. We talked about Guile. We talked about Chun-Li. Let's talk about their nemesis. I was going to say the original Street Fighter baddie, but that's not true because that would be Sagat, who we are not talking about today. But you know, whatever. And that would be you know, m.bison or Vega, if you will, if
you're a competitive player.
Yeah, because you want to keep them straight. But yeah, we're talking about the dude that with the Psycho Crusher. I'm going to call him Psycho Crusher. It sounds cooler than Dictator. Sorry, competitive people. But what's cool about him is that we don't have a lot of villains in Smash. He's a great video game villain. His aesthetic is different. We don't really have anybody that looks like that. The way his moves work is different. I think he would actually be... He's one of... if I could just like pick a Street Fighter character, I might pick him because I feel like that would be like a kind of cool addition. But the thing is, he's really not as big as really any of the other characters we already spoke of. He's up there, but he's not like quite there.
Yeah,
you know
I understand. I mean? Like something I did when I was looking into this list is like picking characters that have appeared in all the games because I feel like those are the characters Capcom consider important. And m.bison has not appeared in Street Fighter 3. He was not the main bad guy in 4, but he was a bad guy in 4. And he wasn't in the original Like that's a big thing for me, in my opinion, is that he wasn't in the original as well, where like he was not the original bad guy. Where I feel like Sagat gets a bit above him in that. Like Sagat also was not in Third Strike, or not Third Strike, just Street Fighter 3 series in general.
It was Sagat confirmed with the last batch of people in 5?
Yes,
I really haven't.
He was confirmed. He's in this season.
So.
He's not out yet, but he's going to be in this season.
Yeah, that's the thing. I haven't really been paying too much attention to the game. I'm more of a classic Street Fighter fan, but yeah, okay. I usually see all of the trailers and stuff when they come out. I'm like, I think he was announced, but I don't remember seeing.
I feel like there's a lot of love for Sagat over
so I mean,
m.bison though, because like
okay.
Sagat is a villain to the same regard, but he's more of a rival to Ryu than m.bison is. So like you could put Sagat in as a rival more than m.bison, who is a general bad guy, because I feel like Ryu doesn't deal with m.bison in the same way as like Akuma.
Yeah, it's weird. That's kind of what I was saying, is that I feel like the through line of like Street Fighter 2, 4, and 5, even a little bit, like it's like Ryu's story is always kind of separated a little bit from it. He just like comes in at the end and like beats people up and leaves. Like if you didn't know any background on it, that's kind of what happens. It's like, yeah, there's all this stuff and people are chasing the villain and this and that, and this person's a clone of this person, and then Ryu comes and punches people a lot.
Yep. I do think like m.bison is like the iconic villain. Like when you look at Akuma, you don't think iconic villain. When you look at m.bison, you think iconic villain.
Yeah.
He's got that look.
Exactly. Yeah, and Akuma's more like Akuma's definitely a villain character, but he's more like kind of like that force of nature, like, you know, he's just his evil isn't so much malicious. He just wants to be super powerful. He's just kind of he's the shadow type of character to Ryu, of this is what could happen to Ryu if Ryu lets go, and Ryu, you know, that's where you get evil Ryu from, who could also be an Echo, but would be the stupidest Echo.
No one would be happy.
If we got evil Ryu
it'd be like...
Yeah, no one would be happy.
Yeah.
So we're not even
be like adding DiCaprio into Street Fighter 4.
Ooh, yeah. It's come on, guys. We have so many options here. At least give me Ken, if you do that. Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said. And I think that was mostly it. Like I said, we focused a lot on Street Fighter 2. Let's touch base, I guess, a little bit on the other games. One character I want to bring up super briefly, because we both kind of had her on the list, but then shunned her off. But let's just touch on her anyways. For Street Fighter 2 is Cammy. I feel like Cammy is also used a lot by Capcom. Like, she was in Cannon Spike. She's been in a lot of crossover stuff. She's kind of like the next tier of Street Fighter 2 character. I don't think she's quite popular enough for Smash, but she's almost there,
like she's definitely one of the more popular Street Fighter 2 characters. I feel like the reason I had her on my mind is because like she was the character I mained in Street Fighter 5 when it came out. So like, she's the character I have like in my mind as like just she's the character I always remember. But like she isn't as iconic as the other characters. Like you don't see her as much. Her outfit is a bit more out there. I don't know if Smash would be happy with that, but I think like the big thing she'd have going for her is that she is really important to the story.
I mean, she was in the Street Fighter movie, played by Kylie Minogue.
Wow, this is a revelation.
You gotta watch all of these old Street Fighter movies, man. You gotta. She was like, dude, I have to see that one. I haven't seen that one in forever. I'm like, I don't know, was she like Guile's love interest? Or that movie was really weird. It was really weird. But like I said, she's made other appearances. She was in like the X-Men vs. Street Fighter games, but of course a lot of Street Fighter characters were. She's been in a lot of the different crossovers. Like I said, she was in Cannon Spike. She's done a lot. But like I said, just not quite enough. I think in Namco Cross Capcom, she was Chun-Li's partner in that game.
That would make sense.
I think they Yeah, I think they were teamed up as like the partner units. So you know, she's like I said, she's up there. But you know, so let's throw her on this list. Why not? So let's talk about some other Street Fighter games just real quick. We were talking before about Street Fighter 3. Street Fighter 3 is kind of a weird game. I feel like it was a game that kind of alienated some Street Fighter fans at the time, having been around there, because it kind of got rid of like the World Warrior Street Fighter 2 cast, changed the gameplay up in a lot of ways, and it was kind of towards, I don't know if it was, if I would say it's one of the reasons for it, but it was definitely at the end of kind of the boom of 2D fighters, which basically died out and remained a very niche kind of market almost up until, you know, the boom with games like Street Fighter 4 years and years later. But it is kind of very fondly remembered now by players. But I don't know how many of the characters introduced in that game really have made a big impact. You had a couple that have appeared a few times, like Ibuki.
It's really hard to pick a Street Fighter 3 character, because, like, really none of them are that important. Like, man, I can...
Yeah, I think Yun and Yang have appeared, like, a bunch of times, but once again, I'd put them all behind the Street Fighter 2 cast.
Iconic at all. Like, they're not characters anyone would bring up. Like, when I picked up the Anniversary Collection, I completely forgot that they were in Street Fighter 3. I barely even remembered that they existed in Street Fighter 4. A lot of characters in Street Fighter 3 are like that.
I would say that Alex was created to kind of be the main protagonist
Alex
of that
is
game.
the character I would pick from Street Fighter 3 if there was going to be any Smash representative from there.
Yeah, and, you know, it'd be a grappler character, which would be cool. He has a unique look. He definitely has a fan base too, but he's also a character that sat out Street Fighter 4 and most of the crossovers. And if you were going to get a grappler, like Zangief is more, you know, or Hagar, not from Street Fighter, but Street Fighter adjacent.
He's in the background.
You know,
he's in the background of Alpha, doing his thing. He's got a guy in a headlock. He's part of the universe.
Yeah, he counts. He counts as a Street Fighter character. I feel like those are more iconic grappling characters. I mean, I'd be cool with Alex. I don't see it. There's also Guile, who's kind of like the big boss from that game.
I feel like he's just like, no one knows him. Like, he's being teased in Street Fighter 5 in the ending of the spoilers. He's teased in the ending of the story, but like Street Fighter 3 is the last in the timeline, so I guess it's a teaser for the Street Fighter 3 story. I don't know.
All right. Well, let's move on real quick. So we touched about Street Fighter 3. We don't think anybody's too likely from there. Let's move on to Street Fighter 4. Gouken.
If I wanted anyone from Street Fighter 4,
you know,
it's definitely El Fuerte. He's not a good pick, but he's the coolest character. He's
yeah. I think we're gonna skip the section at the end of this character corner, by the way, listeners, where we talk about what characters we want, because we're kind of doing that as we go through.
Street Fighter 4 has so many like good, just funny character picks that I'd love to see. Hakan, Hakan, what a guy.
Yeah. I mean, Sea Viper is somebody that appears in other crossovers, so she's somebody, but I don't think anyone from this game has
everyone
any
in
real
Street
chance.
Fighter 4 is already, like, anyone iconic in Street Fighter 4, we've already mentioned.
Exactly. Let's go back and touch upon Alpha a little bit. I don't think any of the characters introduced directly in Alpha have any real chance. Sakura's probably the most popular character that was introduced just from Alpha. She's different enough, but she's still kind of a Shoto clone. There's still characters that are way above her. And, you know, she's another character that sits out certain installments of Street Fighter. Like, she wasn't in Street Fighter 5 until just now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the problem is, when we're talking about all these characters from all these other Street Fighters, is that you can pick almost any character that we didn't even talk about, like Balrog, you know, from from Street Fighter 2, and you're like, yeah, that more people will know that character because Street Fighter 2 is just the biggest version of the of Street Fighter, and these characters usually have appeared in other Street Fighter games. So I guess we should just touch really quick. Like I said, I haven't played much 5. Is there any character in 5 that you want to see since we're doing this section, or that you think you know, should be mentioned?
In 5, not really. The characters in 5, like, they got the different characters, but like,
you're gonna get one person that's like, "How dare you not mention Akali?
Right,
How dare you?"
People care about Fung. Don't yell at me. Akali's a jobber. He didn't do anything.
That should be the thing that tells you we're having trouble remembering which ones are the new characters.
The new characters in Street Fighter 5.
You know, in Street Fighter 5, I'm starting to remember more Street Fighter 4 characters. I'm like, Juri's in that game? Oh yeah, she came out in 4, not 5.
Yeah. Yeah, she was one of the first DLCs. Like, the character, the only new character that's coming to my mind is Colleen, who's technically also in Street Fighter 3, but I'm only remembering her again because she's my main.
He's kind of cool.
She's the character I play.
Yeah, you know what? I think,
yeah,
ladies
Rashid.
and gentlemen of
can they
Source
put his
Gaming,
name in?
I think at the end of the day, what we have discovered is that another Street Fighter character would be kind of cool. It would probably be a character from Street Fighter 2, but more than that, we just want more Street Fighter music in Smash. Yeah, get. I mean, that's about it for me, honestly. This one went on a little bit much. I don't know how much we really
100% agree.
Focus on characters. The thing is, with Street Fighter, I feel like the cast from 2 is so iconic, and you could argue a lot for I think the characters that we kind of started out with, for your Chun-Lis and your Guiles and your Akumas and your Kens and your Bisons. But yeah, after that, yeah.
Yeah. Street Fighter 2 is definitely the game. The only character I can
yeah,
think
all
of
of the
from
super,
Street Fighter
all of the
2
super
that
characters
would be
except
not a pick
for
is, like,
except for
DJ,
the
who
4
I
newcomers.
completely forgot about till like halfway through
Sorry,
this.
T-Hawk. Nobody really cares about you. And you know what? You can bother me in the comments about that. T-Hawk, DJ, and Fei Long are kind of like, oh yeah, those guys. they're that's the thing. Ryu and blonde American Ryu.
Every time I play Street Fighter 2, I'm like, I'm gonna play Ryu. Yeah, easily. Like, if there's gonna be anyone in Smash, it's definitely.
I would put my
Ken.
money on Ken or Chun-Li.
Don't really want to see him as an Echo character personally, because I do think he's his own guy, but he'd be. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, if they're gonna put any character in, it's definitely those two. I feel like Ken is the better choice.
All right,
if they're gonna
do
just
kind of wrap
another
it up
Street
here,
Fighter
guys.
character, Ken as an Echo
always
is definitely like
leave
the
your
most
comments
likely.
and things. Find us here at Source Gaming at sourcegaming.info, source-gaming.com. You can find me at 8bit_spazzy. Where can they find you, Zeddy?
I'm
as per usual, I believe we're probably going to leave you
Zeddy Wonder.
a choice of 2 series to vote on. I don't think we've decided on those series yet, so we're going to be thinking really hard. One day we're going to do Pac-Man. I don't know if it's going to be this one, but that day it's going to be all like, so which Ghost? Pac-Man Jr., Miss Pac-Man? It's going to be a riveting character corner. One day. All right.
I'm not putting Pac-Man at the end of this
So what
video.
he's saying is, if Pac-Man appears, don't pick Pac-Man. But you know what? You can write in Pac-Man in the comments. If enough people write in Pac-Man, I will make somebody do that. And you know what? I'm not even going to be on it. I'm going to be like, hey, Wolfman, go do the character corner for, because I have that sort of power. I don't. All right. All right. Bye, guys.
Mm. Bye.